Jimmy Lakey in the morning makes me feel alive. Woke me up this morning, now I'm up and on my way. Oh, 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 yeah, what a great way to start your day, the Lakey way.
All right, top of the morning to you. I look like I'm in a deer in the headlights. You know, sometimes the lighting is better in the studio than others. We should have Sister Delilah work on that, fix some lighters. Well, I think it's because over this side of the studio, there's actual natural light in the window, and today there's not a lot of natural light. It's a little cloudy and overcast, so we need to, we'll repair the lighting once we become a big-time show. We're not a big-time show right now. By the way, got big-time news coming on the show. Tomorrow, we're going to be making some fun announcements for all of you, and I think you'll enjoy the direction. Well, don't worry. Don't panic. Everything's going to stay good here. Just going to make some adjustments and announcements. That's all coming tomorrow on the program, so don't miss tomorrow's program, or you will miss out on the hearing it from the horse's mouth. Not that I'm referring to myself as a horse, but I guess I could. The horse's mouth. So good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here. I just realized in the array of trying to get the lighting right, that's a little screw up on the showtime. I also left stuff on the printer. Delilah, if you can pay attention to me, if you could bring me the things on the printer, I would appreciate it. Printer 2. It's printer 2, the black and white version. Thank you. All right, anyway, good to have you here on the show. I'm lost. What are we going to talk about today? If I don't have my papers, we don't have anything to talk about. I know exactly what we're going to talk about today. Hey, today's Carno Tuesday. Laura Carno is going to be on the program. Everybody loves Laura Carno. She is the smartest woman that some people know. That's what people post to the show every time that she shows up. So Laura Carno is going to be on the program. All right, the Supreme Court yesterday gave Donald J. Trump a victory. They said, Donald Trump, these illegals, you're welcome to kick their butts out of these and deport them and let the deportations go on. And so it was a 5-4 decision. And I am not a legal scholar. I'm not a constitutional lawyer. Probably not, very unlikely that I shall ever be nominated to be a Supreme Court justice. That's just the world that I live in. It's just a pain, the cross that I have to bear and a burden that I carry that I probably won't ever get on the Supreme Court. But I have to tell you, reading some of the decision by the minority on the court that basically wanted Trump to not be able to deport these, there wasn't a lot of citation of law. It was more about we don't like it. I think it was Sotomayor that wrote the opinion, and it was a very weak dissent, but I'm just reading it, and I didn't read it word for word. I kind of skimmed it, but it was a lot of feelings, and I can't believe our country's doing this, and a lot of clutching pearls of we're better than a country than this, and that's not the role of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, I say, is a constitutional, and yes, there was a law passed in the 1700s that gave the president the ability to do what Donald Trump has done, and Congress never unenacted it, so therefore it is still the law on the books today. And just because the 4 ladies on the Supreme Court all decide to say, we don't like it, it hurts our feelings, and we're better than this as a country. That literally is the type of argument that they made, is that they were just horrified and we're better than this and we shouldn't do it. And that's not the role of the Supreme Court. They're not another legislative body that is supposed to be voting on how they feel or how they feel best represents a viewpoint or a block of people. They're supposed to rule based on what the Constitution says and what is constitutional law. So evidently we've got 4 old women on the Supreme Court that have no understanding as to what their role is. And anybody want to ask the question, what happened to Amy Coney Barrett? She was very liked by the conservatives. I remember even before she got the nomination, people were hoping that she could be nominated. She was supposedly a very principled judge. And yet more and more you see Amy Coney Barrett siding with the old battle axes that have of liberalism. It's really strange what happens. And has there ever been remember Justice Souter? He was nominated by George H.W. Bush, and he turned out to be one of the liberals out there. It's always interesting that when conservatives nominate someone, even John Roberts has been disappointing. He was strong on this when he wrote the majority opinion. But it's always interesting that those other three, maybe that shows that conservatives can think outside the box and those other three can't. Amy Coney Barrett gets it right sometimes, but votes like this that are just based on emotion and real no citation. I mean, is there a standing law on the books, the law of the land, that President Trump enacted, and every president previous to him had the ability to do that? And the answer to that question is yes. There is a law on the books, the from 1780 something, and that's a law, so it's constitutional. And so anyway, President Trump says they're going to speed it up, put the pedal to the metal, and we're going to get him out of here as quickly as possible. One of the ways they're doing that is a partnership has now been announced to pursue illegals, and the DHS, that is the Department of Homeland Security, and the IRS have reached a historic, basically a data share deal. They are going to share information, access information to taxpayers to locate illegal immigrants subject to deportation. The Trump administration has filed a memorandum of understanding late Monday with the court to create guardrails and the process for ICE giving a request to IRS and further investigation, but they're going to do it. The IRS says, yeah, and I'm just glad these illegals at least paid some kind of tax. That's good, and we'll keep the money for all the services that we provided for you for free, and you just head on back home now, and you can apply to come back willingly, nicely, and if you self-deport. Pam Bondi was on television last night, the attorney general, and she says, hey, we're coming for you now. We're coming for you harsh, and you better just self-deport. That's your best way out of the country. We're going to get there. So anyway, good for the Supreme Court. They got one right on this one. The sad part is that it took so long to get to the obvious constitutional ruling. And that's just that we had a judge in Washington, D.C. that has been on the bad side of court rulings against Donald Trump. He's a deranged judge, one of those types, and he's been standing in the way. But the Supreme Court's come up and say, nope, that is not exactly how they're supposed to run. The headline of the Western Journal, everybody's saying this is a big, big deal. They say it may be the biggest win for Donald Trump's second administration thus far. He managed it without one of his own Supreme Court appointments. On Monday evening, the High Court ruled that the Trump administration could continue to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged members of the Venezuelan-based transnational gang Tren de Aragua via El Salvador, according to the Washington Post. The 5-4 ruling, with Justice Amy Coney Barrett joining the court's liberals in voting against, the Supreme Court did not rule on the underlying merits of using the Alien Act. Instead, perhaps more importantly, they took the case out of Judge James Boasberg's Washington-based district court, whose rulings had drawn ire and threat of impeachment. According to the Post, the court ruled 5-4 that plaintiffs filed in the incorrect venue. The American Civil Liberties, which had spearheaded the lawsuit, had been criticized for venue shopping, and so the Supreme Court did not rule on the constitutionality of using the act. They said, hey, this is a dumb case because the judge should have had the wherewithal and the mentality to say this is the wrong venue. The detainees are confined in Texas, so the improper venue is in the District of Columbia. As a result, the government is likely to succeed on merits of this action. So they filed it wrong. It was proven that they judge shopped, and the Supreme Court says you basically cannot do that. And the move means the ACLU would need to refile the case in Texas. And more importantly, the case is out of the hands of an activist judge who threatened to hold Trump administration officials in contempt for not jumping when he says to jump. So it's a good ruling by the Supreme Court, and it proves that this judge shopping is going on, and it should not be allowed. And so a good win for Donald Trump. And they say you're going to put the pedal to the metal, and off to the races they're going to go. If you're here illegally, adios, amigo y amigas. Buenos dias. That's all the Spanish I got here. That's all I have. But we are a bilingual program. Bilingual program indeed. Adios, amigo. That's all I got. All right. Other things in the news. The tariffs are still freaking the people out on television. Let me ask you. How many times in the Trump terms, the first term and now this term, does the media just spend, they're like a dog on a bone. They're like flies on stink. They get on a story and they start telling you this could be the most epic thing ever. And Donald Trump, every story they cover with Donald Trump is it's one of the problems with the 24-hour news cycle. They do this in politics in general, but with Donald Trump, they really come out with their hair on fire all the time. They got the ants in their pants, and they're screaming and yelling. And you just watch it after a couple of days, and maybe at the very beginning, your heart palpitates, and this is it. Donald Trump really screwed this one up, and you kind of buy into it, and then you watch it after 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, where they said the sky was going to fall. They said this was the apocalypse. They said the markets were going to crash. They said all hell's going to break loose. You better be careful, Donald Trump screwing it all up. And then 4 days later, their big story is the Supreme Court and the ruling they have, and all of a sudden the sky hasn't fallen. And even people on CNBC, which is a channel that I frequently get to see, have the opportunity of having it on in the background. This is Jim Cramer. He does the afternoon show. Never liked his show. Got a friend that loves the Jim Cramer show. The guy's voice annoys me just about as much as someone that's on The View. I mean, it's a really kind of a nagging voice. And the things that I've seen him say, I think are just very much based in opinion, and I just don't view him as he's not somebody that I'm going to give my portfolio and say, hey, Jim, you go do this. I'm not going to do that. Well, this was his prediction. This is, again, the 24-hour news cycle. Everything's got to be your hair's on fire. Everything's got to be covered big thing that Donald Trump's blown it here. And what are we, a week after Liberation Day, like 3 or 4 days, 6 days from Liberation Day, which was last week, and the media has been hair on fire the entire time. And now 3 or 4 days later, countries are coming to the table. Over 50 countries have reached out and said, we'd like to have some new trade talks with you. Israel's going to basically get rid of their tariffs. Vietnam's going to get rid of their tariffs. It's going to all work out. We don't know exactly how this plays out long term. But in other words, there's nothing reasonable to be panicked about and in a tizzy about the last 3 or 4 days, because some things have to play out, and you're just going to see how they're going to play out. And that's where we're at. And it seems like they're playing out in a decent way. Even the markets yesterday, Jim Cramer on CNBC last week and over the weekend was pretty much expecting it was going to be bad. It was going to be bad. The market was going to tank. It was going to hit bottom. And by Monday, it was supposed to be so bad that we're going to have to set up Hoovervilles everywhere, because that's how bad it was going to be. Listen, this is Jim Cramer, hair on fire, adding to the hype. And if this doesn't, these people have to lose credibility for whipping you up into a frenzy all the time, and for keeping everything at 6.8 on the Richter scale. And because Trump did it and Trump's doing something different, it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. And every time they have made that predictor, it has not happened. Have you noticed that? Every time they have told you, this is it, this is the one, whether it was a lawsuit against Trump or there's a charge against Trump, whatever it is, every time they tell you this is it, this is the big one, this is where he crossed the Rubicon, this is where he jumped the shark. And all of a sudden you find out, he didn't jump the shark, did he? It's really pretty smart policy. Jim Cramer said the world is coming to an end economically, and it's not. Now, we'll find out how the policy works out, but they get you into this immediate frenzy. The doom is pending, and the Grim Reaper is knocking at the door of America, and then you find out the Grim Reaper is not knocking on the door of America. Watch this video. This is Jim Cramer on CNBC. Roll the tape, please.
Year to date is SVB Financial, don't you on? This company's a merchant bank with a deposit base that Wall Street had mistakenly concerned about. SVB, it's the old Silicon Valley Bank, recently bought one of our favorite research firms, Nathanson, and it's become less dependent upon private equity and venture capitalist offerings. Wait a second. Those dried up last year. They could come back. Yeah, some of them come back.
It's later in this interview here. We didn't cue it up right.
An oversold position. Stock was the fourth worst performer in 2022.
Here we go. Here we go. This is, I'm going to fast forwarding. We're doing on the screen. I think this is it.
Now, you have to remember, this is arithmetic.
All right, we don't have it. It's not the video. It's labeled. That's not the right video. It says that's the video. He did a hair on fire thing, and then you find out that the markets did not perform all that horribly. It's all going to work out, Jim. It's all going to work out. But again, their job is to work you into a tizzy and to a frenzy and get you all steamy and swear to goodness that this is the time that Donald J. Trump has really done it this time. And every time they have images of his doom and gloom, they turn out to be incorrect. So just letting you know that, my friends, that stop letting them whip you into a frenzy. Some of the people coming to the table in this dealing are quite interesting. Indonesia is one of those. There's some manufacturing that probably should stay and will stay overseas. I wish that we would not be producing anything in China. I think that's a bad deal. And I know that people say, well, the cost of things would go up if we don't do it in China. Well, of course it will, because China is using slave labor. And so anybody who's opposed to these tariffs or not punishing China, there's a couple of brands of shoes that I refused to buy my son when he played high school ball, and he had to buy him a new pair of shoes or wanted something to wear to school. I said, I'm not buying those shoes because those are definitely made by slaves in China. And the NBA partners with a company that uses slave labor in China. And these are American companies that are using China, and they have an audience of the Americans that want cheap goods, and some of those shoes are made in China. And I wish they'd go to other countries and have a little bit more practice in fair play. But I still don't understand why it is that they say Trump has started a trade war when, let's say, Europe is charging us 4 times a tariff higher than what we charge them on automobiles, and Trump just says, hey, if you're going to charge us that amount, we'll charge you that amount. It'll be reciprocal, right? And how is that starting a trade war? It seems as if we're finally responding to the trade war that has been wedged against America for a long time. I'm a simple man, my friends. I'm a real simple person. And I'm just looking at it going, it seems to me if you're charging us a 50% tariff and we're charging you at 20, and we say we don't have as easy access and you have easy access here, that doesn't seem very fair. In a relationship, in a marriage, it's not just 50%, 50%, it's 100%, 100%. You got to both put in 100% there. You got to really just give it your all, right? Well, if we're going to be in relationships with some of these countries that we deem as fair and friendly, then, hey, if we're going to give you access to our market, you're going to give us access to your market. And your markets, if you're going to charge us 20%, we're going to charge you 20%. You're going to charge us 50, we'll charge you 50. And somehow just going at it through a real practical matter has Jim Cramer and these people, we've started a trade war, and it's going to drive up inflation, etc. And again, watch how it plays out every time that they have told you that this is the policy of Trump that is going to really destroy the nation. Every time they have told you that, they have it's proven to be untrue. And so some of you, rather than get sucked into every news cycle, need to, and some of your friends, you need to remind them that every time they have predicted the doom and gloom of Donald J. Trump, they have failed and their predictions have been off. So just pointing that out to you. All right, I mentioned this earlier in the show. There's going to be a big kind of an announcement tomorrow on the program. We're going to make some changes, not to the daily update's going to continue to be the same time, but we're making some changes on how you will be able to access this show, and even how you will be able to access some of the long form interviews. Now, some of you have been Patreon subscribers, and stand by for a very important message for you and how that your membership will work. And then some of you, big announcement tomorrow. I'm just giving the tease for it, and just prepare your hearts, because our goal is to get in front of more people and more people and more people. All right. Speaking of that Patreon thing, this is to stand by tomorrow. We'll have big news about this interview here, but this is an interview that just dropped on the Patreon. And these are the kind of high quality interviews that we're trying to do, in-depth interviews, long form interviews, 20, 30, 45, 50 minutes an hour interviews, but they've been behind a paywall. And there are topics that sometimes we can't talk about on this program, because especially the Googles and the tubes that start with a U will ban us on certain topics. So there's been things behind the paywall for our own protection, just to keep off the naughty list of YouTube. But this is one that has just gone up there, and it is at patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. You can still go there and subscribe. I'd love to have you there. But this is the interviews that we're going to try to get more and more accessible to you. This is regarding JFK, and book about Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill him. I was with Robert Tannenbaum, was the author. And in the tease I'm going to play is not necessarily about the technicality of the assassination of JFK. And by the way, there's a lot of parallels. We talk about this interview between the times we live in with Donald Trump and these secretive organizations and intelligence organizations and the world of JFK. So there's a lot of parallels. And this is where we're talking about it with Robert Tannenbaum. It's at patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey, talking about JFK's relationship with the CIA. And this is the topic. Listen to it.
63. In December of 63, the Secret Service And the FBI found that Kennedy and Connolly were hit with two separate bullets. They didn't say separate guns. They said separate bullets. And both of them were shot. Both Kennedy and Connolly were hit between 1.9 seconds of each other. Now, you know what's coming up. Zapruder frame is 18.3 frames per second. If Kennedy and Connolly were hit at a separation of 1.9 seconds, guess what cannot be used as the murder weapon? The Mannlicher Carcano. Why? Because the Mannlicher Carcano takes 2.3 seconds to go through the manual bolt action necessary to fire separate successive shots. So now they're out. They just lost their murder weapon.
Yeah, but that's not the CIA one I thought it was. These videos are mislabeled today. Some of this is AI, I guess. It says mislabeled stuff, but you can hear that he dives into this. He's a former prosecutor in New York, and he got brought in back in the 80s to help re-examine for the JFK assassination. And he says if you just look at the details of it, the murder weapon that they claim was used in the Warren Commission, it could not have been used. It would not have worked based on the Zapruder film. And he also talked about in that interview the moment in time that the CIA had, these intelligence organizations had always been going overseas conducting their own foreign policy, even different than what JFK had. And JFK was at war with the CIA at the time. And he also then talked about the CIA at the time, and the JFK files recently showed that they had an assassination program, and that they had they were practicing assassination, and they had a code name for what they did in Dallas. And he said that it was baffling that they kept just pushing this theory of this murder weapon, but it could be disproven with Zapruder film, but they would not allow it to be disproven with the Zapruder film. But the CIA and these intelligence agencies were not used to having cameras there. You know, now if a president comes down the street, everybody's holding up their phone. Everybody's filming everything now. But back in those days, it was a rarity that Mr. Zapruder would actually be there with a video recorder. So they had not anticipated that somebody's actually going to film it, because that was a pretty new thing happening to where people were out there with their personal cameras taking photos. Now, but they didn't know where the media was at. The media pool was not nearby. So the camera being caught of the Zapruder film was probably something that the CIA was not anticipating. And in not anticipating it, they should have anticipated. They should have thought of it through. All right, in just a moment, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and Laura Carno is going to be in the program. It's Carno Tuesday on the show. And I want to remind you, big-time announcement coming tomorrow on the show. And I think you're going to like it. I think you will. I think you shall. And I think it'll be good times for everybody, because it will allow our content to go further and wider and deeper and further than it's ever gone before. Even the daily update will start reaching new audiences tomorrow. So I will give you the details tomorrow, and prepare your hearts. The palpitations are real. I know you're feeling it. That tingle up your leg, that's just simply me talking. So, all right, everybody stand by. Laura Carno's coming up here in just a second, but we always have great sponsors of the show. We always have great people that we want you to get to know, great friends of the program. And we're going to introduce you to one here in just a moment. And a very important public service announcement. It's Lakey, and I'm unleashed. Our videos are mislabeled, and my television monitor is not working over here. Is it Monday? No, I think it's only Tuesday. It feels like a Monday, but I'm still here. Hold on, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning is on call 24/7, even on weekends and holidays. We pride ourselves in our on-time guarantees. In addition to installation and repairs, we offer maintenance services. So no matter when you need us, you can always count on 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning to keep your system running. Check out our family of brands for all of your service needs, including electrical and plumbing.
1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
right, here we are. Laura Carno's coming up here in just a couple of moments. I'd love to have you. If you watched the basketball game last night, the NCAA happened last night. Houston, so close, and yet no cigar. It was really, I was hoping for Houston to win, but I don't mind the University of Florida. And so God bless the Gators. They win the national championship for men's basketball last night. And good for them, good for them, good for them. That's very exciting for the University of Florida. Disappointing for the youngsters at the Houston University. And boy, it's a close game. I didn't watch all of it. I saw some of the highlights this morning. The final score showed it was just a couple of points apart. So what do we do now? March Madness is over. You have that long period after the Super Bowl, and you're kind of bored. It's the dark days. It's still getting dark at 4:30. You're depressed and sad, and then all of a sudden the Super Bowl is done, and you're depressed and sad. But then you have March Madness kicks in. Springtime is on the horizon. And any of us who live in Colorado know that baseball's not all that thrilling here. It's not a lot. It's fun to watch about one game a season, but you can't watch the losing. I mean, it sucks to lose so much. So what do we do now? We got till August, I guess, till July and August. We have to survive and manage before they go back to football. And that's. I don't know what we're going to do now. They're going to have to watch. This is when I catch up on American Idol. I'm about 2 episodes behind. I'll catch up on that, and you kind of catch up on the Netflix, and you sit outside and enjoy the evenings, I guess, because it's not looking good for the baseball. I'm just not an avid baseball fan, and I never have been. I grew up in Texas. We were a football state, and the Texas Rangers were never that good growing up. But it's I don't know. I don't know what to do now. It's the worst time in television right now for sports on television. I mean, yeah, you got golf on Sunday, but golf is a very niche thing, and I like watching the golf on Sunday. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I like to watch it all weekend. But it's still golf. Watching golf is different than the football experience. I mean, there's just no. I don't know. It's just different. And now we're sad. Now we're all sad. Everybody weep together because the sporting season and the televisions are not. Yeah, it's just not a good time for television. No, I'm not going to watch more news. I don't watch much news anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday, isn't it? It is Tuesday, the 8th day. I'm wondering if that's mislabeled too, because my videos are mislabeled and my television monitor here on my right is not working, and I don't know what's going on. It says no signal. I've got signal here, no signal there. Not sure exactly, but hey, it's we have signal. We have the signal with Laura Carno. She is always faithful. She works when the computer monitors don't. She is always correctly labeled, and she will label you correctly as well, so don't mess with her. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Carno, fastercolorado.com. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I have an idea for what you can do because you can't watch good sports right now.
Yes.
You can garden.
And that's it with Laura Carno. We enjoyed her time.
Not going to happen, huh?
Yeah. I thought about that one time, and then I got over it. I would have such a harvest, and I don't know what I would do with it. Then I have to start canning or something like that. And
right.
I live in the house of Lakey all alone, and I don't have that much need for a lot of food, and so I just go buy it. How about that?
Perfect. Yes. And you go to Africa, and then who would watch your plants?
Who would watch my plants? I have a tough time keeping up with my dog when I travel so much. I mean, I'm traveling every weekend this month, and I'm like, the dog bill's getting expensive. He just has to go to the doggy hotel, and he doesn't go to the cheap doggy hotel because he's a Lakey. Right. He gets his nails did and all that stuff. He gets a style and set, and he gets fluffed up, and yeah, it's like the Ritz-Carlton of puppy lodges.
Sure. Yeah. There's one on the way to Denver International Airport that says it's called like the dog hotel or puppy hotel or something. It's like, oh man, that must be pretty fancy because it's not doggy daycare. Yeah. It's not a kennel. It's the hotel. The
doggy hotel. Yeah. Ralph, my dog, goes to the doggy hotel. And while he's at the doggy hotel, he can stay in his room or he can do social activities. And so he does social activities. I call it daycare, but they have social activities. So he has
arts and crafts or
crapping on crapping in the church. That's what they do.
But it's somebody else's floor, not yours.
It's someone else's floor, and I ain't out there screaming. I was thinking of this. I was walking the dog the other day, and I see people, and I'm like, I wonder if our founding fathers ever viewed a time that grown-ass men were going to be walking with a dog on a leash and a plastic bag in one hand, picking up their poop and going, we used to be a proper people when we were not the dog servants, but somehow we are their servants now.
So if you're a crazy cat lady or crazy cat gentleman, there are those litter boxes that the cat goes in, and then as soon as the cat leaves, the robot does its thing and then puts it in a place where you can just dump it.
Just that's good to know. We have devolved now as a people on the show, even talking about pet habits. Here we are kvetching and bitching about what a horrible world of picking up after pets is, and now we're having a whole discussion of it. So
I know we sound like a couple of old women, honestly.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. Laura Carno is our guest today. You can find her at fastercolorado.com, fastercolorado.com. Laura, we got a couple of stories. .org. Yeah. That's faster. If you go to the .com, it may be porn. I don't know what that is. So no, .org, .org. Make sure you go there and throw a few bucks there. That is a great cause, keeping the kids safe in the schools out there. That Laura Carno is our guest, and I'm pulling up on my computer. Now my computer's not cooperating with me. My Laura Carno notes are right over here. Laura, the shocking culture of the media, everything they want to do is just to kind of whip you up in a frenzy. The sky is falling, apocalypse now, whether it's a Trump tariff, whether it's a deportation. They just whip you up so much, whether it's an election where they decide they're going to decide to call you a racist and a bigot and a threat to democracy. You sent over a study and some news from Fox News that this is not good. This is not good. This is going to end very poorly if we continue to drive up this culture.
Yeah, and the title of this Fox News article, "Bombshell Study Reveals Assassination Culture Spreading Under Trump," and I don't know. I think we're in a place in our country where assassination is frowned upon at minimum. But this huge number of people on the left that think it is okay to assassinate Elon Musk or Donald Trump, and it's somewhere in the 40s, 46%, I think, something like that. And you pair that with this obsession culture with that Mangione character who did assassinate the president of a healthcare company. And you look at, I remember when the left in this country, I'm old enough to remember when they were the anti-war culture, the peace culture. They had held sit-ins and love-ins and all kinds of things. And now a shocking percentage of them, Jimmy, are saying it's okay to assassinate people who are your political enemies or rivals or what have you. I just think that's a horrifying place for our country to be.
These are the people, and you mentioned what they used to be, and the Democrats. This is the party that people used to have the coexist stickers on the back of their car. And if you wear a red hat or a Trump shirt in certain liberal circles, you literally are risking your well-being and maybe your life. I mean, that if you're driving a Tesla, you're risking personal property. And I guess what happened to the people in their party that wanted to coexist? Are any of them still around?
Right. And remember the culture of acceptance and diversity and all of those things, and loving your neighbor even though he or she might be of a different faith or a different ethnicity or a different political party, or that's just gone out the window. I saw a clip on Twitter of Representative Byron Donalds, who's running for the governorship in Florida. He's a U.S. representative there now. And if you haven't seen a picture of him, he's a Black dude. And he is talking to this group of mostly, middle-aged white ladies who are protesting Trump and Elon. And Congressman Donalds, to his credit, goes up and tries to engage them in conversation. And this lady, a white lady, called Representative Byron Donalds, who's a Black dude, as I mentioned, called him a race traitor for supporting the policies of Trump and the Doge work of Elon Musk. And you look at this, you say, I'm sorry, I thought the left was the party, again, old enough to remember. I thought the left was the party of, we're colorblind. We're all equal. It doesn't matter our skin color. And a white person calling a black guy a race traitor just struck me as, what the heck has happened to our country? When the left has gone so far away from its original intent.
I can hear somebody somebody out there going, well, you guys didn't like Barack Obama. I don't remember us ever, when he was out with Sasha and Tasha, his daughters, or whatever the names were, being chased down the street like J.D. Vance was with his daughters. I don't remember. I think a lot of us kvetched and complained and went on the radio and talked about it, but I don't remember us burning down. Elon was on the Democrat side then. We were burning down Elon's stuff. I mean, I just don't remember us doing that. So anybody who tries to say, well, you Republicans don't like Democrats as well, there's a difference between not liking and disagreeing with the behavior that's championed by their party now.
Right. And when Barack Obama was president, nobody that I knew, no Republican I knew, cared about the man's race at all. That was not the Republicans' problem with Barack Obama. It was his policies and what he was doing to the country. We'll remember the Obamacare, that started off his administration. But the left making some of these things about race is pretty disgusting, and I think un-American.
Yeah, it is. And, we often try to, I know there's some good Democrats out there. The way their party's acting, just the lack of condemnation. I mean, even Gavin tries to seem more moderate, but he's not condemning this Tesla stuff. Nancy Pelosi, nobody's condemning it. They're just kind of turning a blind eye and say, well, that's not me. I didn't do it. We would never endorse that. But sometimes you got to condemn it when you're a leader, and they're not condemning it.
Well, the one guy that is John Fetterman, Democrat senator from Pennsylvania. And when he was elected, and remember, he had just had his stroke, and he was not communicating very well. And, those of us who were hoping for a Republican majority in the Senate were saying, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be terrible. And he's standing up for Israel. He's, I think, one of the only ones condemning some of the stuff that's going on the left. And now the left has its knives out for John Fetterman. And I say, cross the aisle if you'd like. You probably have more in common with us on the right than you do on the left anymore, because the left's lost its ever-loving mind.
They have lost their ever-loving mind, and we'll see if their party numbers start to reflect. The approval ratings of the Democrat Party are abysmal, because even though they say that's not our official policy, because you seem connected with that type of lunacy, and the official polling numbers out there are very, very bad. Another story for you. Speaking of Dems, right here in Colorado, they have decided that my U.S. Congressman Gabe Evans, who's a Republican, should be targeted in the upcoming election. They're going to set their sights on winning that seat back that he won from Democrat Yadira Caraveo. Your thoughts on the Dem strategy to go after freshman Congressman Gabe Evans?
Yeah, and I know Gabe. He's a friend. He's a military veteran, a former police officer, former state legislator, just a really great guy. And as you say, he took that seat back from Yadira Caraveo. It's our newest congressional seat. So for those outside of Colorado, I've seen a bunch of notes from people outside of the state of Colorado, which is great to see. But in Colorado, due to redistricting and the increase in population, Colorado got a new congressional district, the 8th congressional district. So this was only the second election in this district. First time it went to a Democrat, Yadira Caraveo, by a handful of votes, and now it's flipped back to Republican. It's a very, very purple district. What my hope is, and the story that you're mentioning is that the DCCC, the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee, is now saying that the 8th congressional district in Colorado is a target for them. That means that they are going to put money in their target races to try and flip them back, so they see that it's eminently flippable. And if you pay attention to Colorado Denver metro media, you see lots of it's not an election time yet, but lots of Gabe Evans commercials of this group is saying, call Gabe Evans and tell him he's a dirty, rotten scoundrel, or call Gabe Evans and thank him for his vote on such and such. So you can tell already. But here's what I think is going to happen in Colorado. Colorado has just had a complete overturn of its state Republican Party officials. And by all accounts, the last 2 years has been fraught with division. And I'll just leave it at that. For the people outside of the state, we don't need to air our family's dirty laundry, but it was a very divisive administration. So a couple weeks back, we had an election within the Republican Central Committee. There's new folks. I think that the new team is going to be able to not drive people away from wanting to vote for a Republican, but bring new people in to wanting to vote for a Republican. So if you are listening in Colorado, this is a race to watch, and keep an eye on your state Republican leadership and what they're doing to encourage everybody to support the reelection of Gabe Evans. And again, great guy.
Gabe is my congressman. I voted for him in his first term. It's a newly formed district, as you said. Yadira Caraveo won it first over Barbara Kirkmeyer by a squeaker. And now Gabe Evans kicked Yadira Caraveo to the curb. And we got to keep Gabe in there as my congressman. Please, it's the one good thing in the state that I live in a district that's controlled by a Republican member of Congress. Laura, I don't know if you saw this. It's not on your show notes, but Jenna Griswold, our Secretary of State, I thought she was going to run for governor. I know that the rumor is they didn't want her to run for governor. So she has decided to run for attorney general. Jenna Griswold, to say her administration as Secretary of State has been wrought with controversy is probably an understatement. And now she's going to want to be the attorney general. Your thoughts?
Right, controversy of a legal nature, specifically, which makes the role funny. So current AG Phil Weiser's running for governor. Would not be shocked, Jimmy, if Weiser said, hey, Jenna, why don't you stay out of the governor's race and I'll endorse you as my replacement. Just wouldn't be surprised if that happens down the road. But yeah, Jenna Griswold, as Colorado's Secretary of State, did things like try to keep Donald Trump off of the ballot during the election. And he was a legal candidate. She basically gathered a bunch of people to say, well, he was an insurrectionist, so he should be kept off the ballot. Despite there never being a charge of anybody for insurrection, no convictions for insurrection. She also allowed, through her office's negligence, the passwords for the election systems to be made public. And because somebody hid a tab or hid a column or something to that effect on an Excel spreadsheet, which is just a dumb error when you are charged with keeping information safe. So she's had some issues that I think will come back to haunt her. And don't forget that she had somebody did a CORA request, Colorado Open Records Act, and found that Planned Parenthood was writing her office's press releases, despite there being no abortions performed in the Secretary of State's office. I don't know why Planned Parenthood was writing her press releases, but there's been a lot of garbage following her.
Yep, and so I'm hoping the garbage takes itself out. She's not running uncontested. There's other people that are in that attorney general race, but the fact that her with these legal questions have followed her deciding to run for attorney general is, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's like nominating Hunter Biden to go in the Supreme Court. It's probably not a best idea. Just something like that. Real quick, you've sent me a note, blinding flash of the obvious. It's happening. Everybody votes to raise the minimum wage, and it's a living wage or what have you. And now you find out there's fewer jobs for people paying minimum wage. The story out of Los Angeles.
Right. Yeah. And this is a story that comes from KTLA in Los Angeles. And Jimmy, you and I have talked on your show for years about these minimum wage laws, whether it was here in Colorado or somewhere else. And you and I don't have a degree in economics. I don't know if you do, but you and I did the quick back of the envelope math and said, if you raise minimum wage, there's some store owner, restaurant owner who's going to say, well, you know what? The minimum wage is now zero because I can't afford as many people. and people are going to lose their jobs. That seems to be like sixth grade math that you and I have been talking about for years. And so all of a sudden, there's this big study that's been done in Los Angeles that because of their $20 an hour minimum wage, that McDonald's and other fast food restaurants who have been accustomed to having that lower wage base of employees because it was viewed as an entry level job, maybe not the thing you're going to do for your whole career unless you have a management track, but maybe that entry level job where kids can get their first start working for a professional company. Well, now they've all been replaced by robots, and you have to go up to the kiosk and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't understand the shock at these studies that say a $20 minimum wage is leading to job losses in McDonald's. It's really unbelievable.
It's if somebody can't figure that out, then unfortunately, we used to be a proper country. It seems as if that is pretty common sense. That it just the math doesn't add up, and now there's fewer people with opportunities to get those entry level jobs, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They just wouldn't listen to us. This is Laura Carno. If folks want to learn more about fastercolorado.org, of course, making a donation, where do they go, ma'am?
Yeah, go to fastercolorado.org. I'd encourage you to click on the About Us tab, the Our Team tab, so you can see how incredible our instructors actually are. They're all active duty law enforcement instructors, just an amazing group of guys. As you said, click on that donate button and throw us a few bucks. We offer scholarships for those first year schools that don't yet have budgets for getting their armed school security teams trained. And we are this coming weekend, it's our first class for our brand new students coming from schools that have just recently authorized armed staff programs, and we are getting them all trained up so they can start carrying as soon as they can.
Fastercolorado.org. Laura, we need to real quick. The state legislature still in session here in Colorado. Last year, they were trying to kind of put even the safe schools out of commission from being able to protect their kids. Has any of that nonsense resurfaced?
Not so far. We have sadly had to retain a lobbyist to keep an eye on all of that stuff for us because they did try to run this policy into the ground last year. And if somebody wants to put a finger in the eye of the state legislature and make a big old donation to help us keep afloat with that lobbying firm, a firm that, by the way, has given us the very good friends and family discount. Understanding that we're a not-for-profit, but it's still one of our biggest expenditures of the year. But yeah, they've so far kept us safe this year. Just knock on wood that they've learned their lesson, and our lobbyist is sitting at the right tables to be able to keep us safe from the legislators. But nobody else is safe from the legislators this year. It's been pretty bad there.
We're getting close to the home stretch here, but we're not quite there yet where they have to signy die and go bye-bye. Laura Carno, it's a pleasure to have you here. Laura Carno is, again, found at fastercolorado.org, fastercolorado.org. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bless your heart. Some of you watch the front of the show and you don't watch the back of the show. And some of you watch the back end of the show, not the front end, because your schedule happens, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we played this in the first part of the show yesterday, and I promised that we were going to do it again in the second half of the show. Because I like nature. I like nature segments. I like watching, Jack Hanna's Wild Wild Kingdom. They still have that. I like those kind of shows. I like watching the wilds of Africa on the Nat Geo channel when you have the lions chasing the gazelles. It's all fascinating, right? These nature movies where they set up cameras in the wilderness and you see their animals. I think those trail cams are fun to watch. I like them. And so in keeping with the spirit of being connected to the environment and endangered species and stuff, I want to play this for you, and I think it will bless your heart, and it will fulfill the purpose of us being we're very green. We're very into somebody said they want the hippie culture back among the Democrats. We're looking after the old endangered species here, and that's what I want to play for you here. Ready? Let's go out into nature and see what has been found. They live among us. It happens.
The sea hag. For decades, this cunning yet repulsive specimen has evaded justice, lurking within the corridors of power, amassing shitloads of cash while collecting the humble salary of a public servant. The sea hag's fortune is derived not from skill or providence, but from the insidious art of insider trading. A practice that, while illegal, often slips through the cracks of enforcement, buried beneath layers of political camouflage. Yet now a most unexpected predator has entered the fray. This autistic rocket surgeon has set his sights on the sea hag and her network of accomplices. As they scramble to hide their corruption, one thing has become increasingly clear. For the first time in her long and storied crime spree, the sea hag may finally be cornered.
There you have it. So we'll find out what happens on this whole thing, but it's good to get an update. Nature, I feel like a conservationist right now. I feel like we're like Greenpeace or something, doing better for society with the update on the sea hag. In case you thought you had never seen the sea hag in the wild, well, now you have seen the sea hag in the wild, and you're welcome and congratulations. Hey, there's a story I was going to get to earlier and I didn't, so we're going to take a couple of moments to get to it. And it's a question that I have for you: is how many emails do you have that are unread on your telephone? This was a question of the day that I should have launched earlier in the show. Producer Chad and I were talking about this QOD, or question of the day, and it turns out that people do spring digital cleaning. The way you do your taxes in the spring, and you get those to the accountant or whatever you do, and you maybe do some spring cleaning around the house, or I've got a garage spring cleaning coming up here in the next, once I'm finally in town on a weekend, I got to get the garage sale cleaned up and all that fun stuff for the spring. Well, a lot of folks also use springtime to clean up their digital clutter. And in a new survey, 77% say digital clutter negatively impacts their life. And the average person has 1,044 unread emails and 12 unread text messages. Now, when I saw this, I have a folder that when you have to use an email that you don't really want the email, but you have to use it, I have a folder that those go into, and it's a Gmail account. And that has 260 or something unread emails. And I'll just go through and delete those and make sure nothing gets caught up about once every couple of weeks or so. But the average person said they have 1,044 unread emails. Everybody look at your phone right now and see how many unread emails you have and confess it to us. Do it in the chat rooms. People say they have 12 unread text messages. I don't have any unread text messages. I probably do. Yeah, I do have a lot of I'm horrible at texting. Don't text me. Yeah, I have 23 unread text messages. So people say, you didn't respond to my text. I'm like, did you text me? They said, yeah. So you should have called me. So yeah, if I don't respond to your text, it's nothing personal. I have 23 unread text messages right now. I didn't even know I had unread text messages, 23. The average person has 12 unread. So I'm like better than average on unread text messages, and 17 unread social media notifications. Well, we have so many social media pages. That's not fair for me. I can't do that. All right. How many, producer Chad has 4,000. I mean, if you want to be ignored by anybody when you send them an email, email producer Chad. He had over 4,000 unread emails, and he says they're in a folder that he doesn't pay attention to. I don't know why. He had excuses. But if you've been missing a response, I've only ignored 23 people with unread messages, text messages. Producer Chad has he's ignored thousands of you. Thousands of you have tried to reach out to producer Chad. Everybody around America reaches out to producer Chad, and he's ignored all the damn emails, 4,000 of them. I only have 23 unread messages. You're welcome. I'm better than some, but I'm worse than some as well. All right, that's the question of the day. How many unread emails do you have? Again, the average unopened text messages is 12. I have 23. I'm glad that I can perform better than most people. 7 things that your resume, if you put a resume together, you shouldn't include in 2025. maybe I'm getting old, but when we learned typing class back in the 80s and 90s, you typed and you did a double space after a period, right? You did the double space on the old typewriter. Well, now you get told you only have to do a single space because we're not using typewriters anymore. But when I got trained to type, I did double space, and I still do the double space. I like the double space. Thank you very much. Well, there's also some things that go in resumes that you should no longer in 2025 be putting on there. Don't put your salary or requirements on there. You worry about that once you get an interview. Listing it on your resume will not do you any good, which I've never put a salary expectation on the resume because I don't think I've ever gotten hired by a resume. It's usually my charming good looks and a voice that sounds like I'm a smoker. The line, references available upon request, they say don't put that on your resume. You're wasting real estate and you're wasting people's time. If they know you're going to give references that they ask for. Big companies use software now to screen the resume and search for keywords, and it doesn't always recognize graphics, so don't use bright colors or graphics on your resume. Don't give the URL for your LinkedIn page. Just put a hyperlink on it, and they can go right to it. Don't put your full home address. Your name and city are perfectly fine. No one needs to go check out your place on Google Maps. Don't put your full address there. Don't use the same word over and over again, like managed or directed or led. And don't put a third page. If you have 3-page resume, you're going to have to trim it down. I heard a secret one time, and it's my buddy Tony told me this, and he said it works. He had a buddy who was trying to get hired. So this is for all of you looking for jobs out there. And they were going to like the LinkedIn and the Indeeds, and they were looking at the job descriptions and firing their resumes off to try to get hired. And they weren't getting hired. And then they finally created a window. They created a window that they cut and paste the digital job description, and they very small, minute text, and they put that window with the text on there with the exact job description, and then they whited it out so you could not see that there was a hidden box there on the resume, but there was actual text there, but it was hidden. And the guy started getting pinged because when the digital scanners were going through the resumes, they saw the qualifications. Well, the exact words from the job description were there, and his resume started getting tagged because the computers were saying, the AI was saying, this guy's really qualified. I mean, his resume actually has the job description in it. I don't know if that works. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Ray says he has about 2,400, mostly garbage emails, but unread. Roger says, my work-focused folder has greater than 10,000 unread emails. It won't give me the total. So if you want to also be ignored, talk to Roger or email him. He'll ignore you as well. Or Chad, producer Chad. Okay, I've got to check. How many unread emails do I have? I looked earlier, but I forgot the number. Okay, I have 491 unread emails. Now, okay. Well, some of those are just from overnight. I haven't cleaned out the inbox today. Let me go to the unread. Hold on. Let me see the oldest unread. I'm looking here. This is live radio, so live television, so we can do this. I'm scrolling down. The last unread, the oldest unread email is from March the 23rd, the 2025, and it's a junk mail. It's from the Daily Signal and the Daily Caller. A subscription. So that's probably a list I should get off of because I'm obviously not reading their emails. So that's it. High score. Roger has 69,000 unread emails in his focused folder. His non-focused folder, he has the rest of them, I guess. So that's a high score. That's probably not good. That's probably you're either on too many people's list or you need to delegate more and let other people handle responsibilities. You should. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what else do we have here we want to get to? Oh, I want to remind you about our friend Sherry Cree. It's springtime in Colorado. The weather's going to be great this week. A lot of people start thinking about that spring cleaning of the house. They also start thinking about their next move, real estate. Some people wait for the kids to get out of school. Listen, even if you're thinking of moving a couple of years down the road, we talked to Sherry Cree last week on the program, and she said she had somebody reach out to her like 2 or 3 years before, talked to them and strategized and came up with kind of a life plan on real estate. And she thought, well, I didn't get that client. And yet 3 years later, the client called her and said, okay, we're ready. We took your advice last time, and now we're ready. She wants to be people's realtor for life. And it's not just about the single transaction. She'd love to sell your home. You'd love to buy your home, whatever. She'd love that. but she'd really like to kind of become your realtor for life and just kind of walk you through every stage of your life, whether it's your first starter home, maybe it's adding a bedroom, maybe it's adding another car spot in the garage, maybe it's just a bigger lawn, maybe it's a new neighborhood, whatever your reason for moving, she'd like to walk you through that. And then for the next time and the next time and the next time, she recently went to a retirement party from a client, and she went through that retirement party, and she was kind of the most loved and hated person at the party. The people that she had sold their home, they were downsizing, she sold their home, and they were very thankful. And the neighbors were all saying, why did you sell their home so quickly? We don't want them to leave. Listen, if you're looking to get out of your neighborhood and you want somebody that's going to help you and give you white glove service, it's homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. And even if you're not quite sure this is the right time for you, maybe you have questions about the market, maybe you have questions about the state of Colorado, maybe you want to move in, maybe you want to move out, whatever the case may be, talk to Sherry. Just have a conversation, no obligation. She's not going to twist your arm. As she said on the program last week when she was with me, she says not everybody's a fit for her to be a client, and she's going to take on those people that she believes that she can help, and you're going to have that mutual lifetime realtor relationship is what she hopes for. That's what she's going for. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, all up and down the I-25 here in Colorado. If you're in Windsor, if you're in Wellington, Fort Collins, if you're in Boulder, if you're in Broomfield, if you're in Aurora, you're in Parker, you're in Castle Rock, in Denver, you get the idea. Anywhere under the sound of my dulcet tones on that I-25 stretch in Colorado, the Front Range, as we call it, the metro area, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. And again, it could be a conversation. Maybe you're not ready yet, but just start the planning, homeswithsherry.com. All right, big announcement coming on the program tomorrow, and it's going to be a way that we are going to up the ability to have our broadcasts, or streamcasts as we call them, reach more people. And also, we'll also be walking you through how we're going to get all those interviews that we love you to listen to on Patreon, how you're going to be able to see those in a bigger and widespread way. And I think you'll all enjoy it. And we want to grow the audience, and that's what we're trying. Phase 2 of this program coming up, a big announcement tomorrow you do not want to miss. I think you will all enjoy it. And let's just say everybody will be a winner with this announcement. There's no losers. Everybody will be a winner with this announcement, and I think you will want to see it for yourself tomorrow morning on the program. All right, real quick, can I do a couple of other little things? I'll do the interviews tomorrow from the Patreon page on the assassination of JFK. By the way, if you are a subscriber now on the Patreon page, you do need to know that interview is up there, and it's a Robert Tannenbaum, and it's that day in Dallas Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill JFK. May 17th, we have our big casino gala for our charity program. That's just over a month away. And I want you to get your tickets. Prices are going to go up on this. So if you don't register, you need to register. You need to get registered soon. riverspromise.org. All the information on the casino gala. It's May 17th, 7 p.m. It's going to be at the Omni Interlochen Resort in Broomfield, right close to Boulder, right close to Denver. Once you register, you'll get a link if you want to do a little staycation for a night or two. There's going to be a link for some discounted great rooms at the Omni Interlochen Resort. But it's riverspromise.org. Our casino gala, sponsored by our friends at Budget Home Supply in Longmont, Colorado. If you're doing a home project, a spring cleanup, a spring home project, lawn projects, you get the idea. Rather than go to the big box stores, why don't you go to Budget Home Supply in Longmont and check them out and tell them that you listen to the show. Tell them that you go to the casino gala. Budget Home Supply will be there. They have a big table set up as their title sponsor, and it's all coming up May 17th. It's less than a month away, and you got to get it on your calendar and mark it and get those tickets purchased, and it's all for fun. This is not Vegas, my friends. This is all educational fun at a casino night. If you ever wanted to go to Vegas and play craps, the dealers that we have here will actually be teaching you how to do it. They have craps tables there, and you can stand around learning. And people ask me, how do you dress? We have people that dress up in their Vegas best, and we have people that just show up in their jeans. It's okay, just dress appropriate, but it's a fun night. Some live music is going to be there. If you ever enjoyed the music of the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra, you're going to enjoy this music. Cash bar, food's going to be served as part of your ticket. It's going to be a fun night. For May 17th, it's getting close, and prices are going to go up here in a couple of weeks or a couple of days sometime. So get those pre-tickets bought as quickly as possible. And riverspromise.org. All right, it's time to play the meme roulette. Round and round the world we go. We steal the memes from where we don't know, but producer Chad knows. Round and round the world we go. We steal memes from where we don't know. Ireland has placed a 125% tariff on all American goods until America takes Rosie O'Donnell back. We're not going to do it. We're not taking Rosie O'Donnell back. Please, we'll pay the tariff. Just pay the tariff. I'll pay extra for the Guinness. We will pay the tariff. We can't do it. Let's see. Round around the globe we go. Where we land, no one knows. Let's see it. Elon Omar, USAID is the reason I'm here and not in Somalia. Everyone else says that's why we want to get rid of it. That's true. If Elon Omar said that USAID is how she ended up getting to America, that again shows you why we have to get rid of USAID and really trim that, because it's not a good thing. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Give a Democrat a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a Democrat to fish, he'll create a fishing license. Tax your rod, identify the fish as an endangered species, and then close your fishing spot. I'm too distracted. Is that a woman in a bikini? It looks like she has like a bikini on there. I don't know the text. I'm just looking at the silhouette of the image. All right, round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Here we go. Ba-da-ba-ba-boom. Nearly 20% of liberals say they would prefer to live in another country. And Clint Eastwood on the front porch says, what the hell's stopping you then? Bye-bye. We miss you. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. I think this is our final meme of the day. People that own nothing and can't afford to pay back their student loans should not be taken seriously as experts on tariffs or the economy. Isn't it amazing? Everybody's become a tariff expert. Everybody has become a tariff expert out there, but everybody learned from the same school of economics on tariffs. And yeah, it's really kind of bizarre how people have become experts in so many fields that they're really not experts in. All right, big announcement on the show tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. We're going to work now to making our material more accessible to people throughout the day. A lot more platforms. We'll announce how it's all going to work out tomorrow. That's coming up tomorrow's show. Wednesday, Hump Day. Another programming note, I will be doing the show on the road this week as Jimmy's Tour of the World continues. I'll be in the St. Louis area on Friday and then Monday's show, I believe, in St. Louis area. And so it would be more hotel art behind me is what that means. Until we get fancy enough that we have a pop-up banner that goes with me, we're going to do, it should be fun. St. Louis, here we come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to be here with you on the program. Don't forget to email us if you want to be a further part of the show. Maybe you'd like to be one of our great advertisers, one of our sponsors. You can do that as well. You can just email us at info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com. To everybody out there on all the Facebook pages, we're on facebook.com/Red Wave America, Jimmy Lakey fan page, the Media Equalizer. God bless you. Rumble, hello, Rumblers. I haven't even checked in on the Rumble page, but I know you're out there. All of you on the Twitter, hey, like us, share it, tell everybody else to join us. It's Lakey. It's Lakey. I'll be back. God bless you. God bless America. Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.